everybody, how's it going? This is Immigration Attorney Moumita. I'm coming to you live to talk to you about immigration and to see the questions that you may have on your mind today. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Moumita Rahman and I'm an immigration attorney. I believe that immigrants make America great already, and I thank you so much for joining me today on my live. And if you are a current client, thank you so much for allowing us to work on your case and for your patience. If you are a new follower or if you have just found my page, welcome to my page, welcome to my channel. Please give me a follow and please turn on your notifications so that the next time I go live, you are notified and you don't miss a thing. And today I want to talk about a few immigration updates, and I want to answer some big questions that we've gotten so far. But first of all, hello to everybody. Hello. Someone sent medical exams to our office for their case. Great. We can't wait to get everything filed. Miss Paulina, how are you? Nice to see you. All right, so good to see everybody. I have a question here. What's the difference between an evaluation and a consult? A consult is with an attorney, and an evaluation is with somebody who's from my legal team. Sometimes it's not usually an attorney. Someone's asking, ma'am, nowadays approved for VAWA takes 5 years from the receipt date, and the answer is not necessarily 5 years. We are seeing VAWA cases take anywhere between 3.5 to 4 years to be receiving the approval of the I-485. Of the I-360, but then after that, you still have to wait anywhere from 6 months to 12 months for your I-485 to be processed. Okay, so overall, I would say the total is still an average of 4 years. Sometimes it could still take more. Okay, you have to be patient. The government can go up and down with their processing times, and there are a lot of factors that can change everything. Do we have a free consultation? No, we do have a fee of $150. KK is asking, hi, Attorney Moumita, can you travel to your home country with a T visa? Harry Montero, thank you. I forgot to write your name down yesterday. Harry, can you give me your full your name again so I can make sure we look into what's happening on your case? I think it was Jose. All right, well, thank you. All right, good. Okay, let's go ahead and answer some questions live. Well, first of all, let me give you some immigration updates. Number one, I want to give the biggest update that you need to know, which is that cases are still getting approved. There is a common misconception that because of all the stuff happening with immigration right now, that maybe they are not approving cases or they stopped even processing cases, and this is simply not true. Cases are still being processed, work permits are still being issued and approved, and also green cards are still being issued and approved. VAWA approvals are still being received. T visa approvals are still being received. However, what I can say is that the processing of T visas has slowed down a little bit right now, and we are seeing some more activity on our VAWA cases, meaning that we're getting more requests for evidence, we're getting approvals, we're getting interviews for the VAWA cases. And my belief is that they're trying to push out a lot of VAWA decisions this year, and they're probably going to kind of pick it back up on the T visas probably in the beginning of next year. But that doesn't mean that they're not processing cases, okay? Jose, thank you so much. I have it down here, Jose Harry Montero. Thank you, I didn't have a chance to write it down yesterday, so I'm glad I'm seeing it today. All right, so let us talk about another important update that some of you have brought up, which is the asylum fee of $100. First of all, if you do have an asylum case pending, you may be required to start paying $100 a year going forward. However, I want to point out that nothing is official yet. This is still a work in progress. There's not even clear decisions on what has to be paid or how to pay it. So before you do anything, wait for the news to become official. Next is that on October, beginning on October 20th, if you file your N400 citizenship application on October 20th or afterwards, you will be required to take a tougher, longer version of the citizenship test. However, that does not mean that you shouldn't start preparing now, because the citizenship process is becoming harder. They're going to be scrutinizing your application a lot more. They're going to scrutinize you a lot more, and you generally want to be taking as many steps as you can to make everything strong on your case. The biggest difference is that cases, applications filed October 20th or later will now be required to answer a 20-question test for the civics, history, and politics portion of the N400 naturalization application. Some of the questions are a little bit harder. I do believe that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pass. But unfortunately, if you haven't already, if you're not ready to file your application or you're not yet qualified to become a citizen or to file for citizenship, then you're going to have to wait. But what I would also say to you is that if you're worried about passing your citizenship test, this can always change back in the next presidential administration that we have, which is hopefully not a third term of what. They will probably revert back the citizenship test to make it a little bit easier. They'll probably roll back some of the policies. So guys, I know we have some time to wait, but it's not like this is going to be forever, okay? All right, so let me reintroduce myself to you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Moumita Rahman, and I'm an immigration attorney. I have been licensed to practice law, and I have been practicing immigration law for the past 15 years here in New York City, and I work with clients all over the United States. It does not matter to me where you are located. As long as you have the type of case that we work with, we would love to see if we can help, all right? And we have helped thousands of immigrants across the United States, and it is truly my life's mission, because not only do I want you to get your legal status through my work, through our office, through our team, but I also want you to know and understand that you are valued as a person. You have a right to exist. You have a right to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter what country you're from, no matter what immigration status you have, okay? So whatever is being said across this country right now, please know that you should not take those things to heart, okay? All right, let's go ahead and see. Do you deal with reason to believe cases where the criminal charges were dismissed? Sinlu, reason to believe human trafficking. Well, here's the thing. We deal with a lot of criminal issues in our cases. A lot of our clients do have criminal convictions or just criminal charges that were dismissed. Whatever it was, life is not easy here. So criminal charges may pop up in your background. The most important thing to know is that if you have ever had any sort of encounter with law enforcement, you need to be upfront and disclose it to immigration, even if it was dismissed, even if it was expunged, even if it happened 30 years ago. They don't care. They want to know it all, and they are probably going to know it all. So if you try to hide anything or pretend like it didn't exist, it's going to come back to bite you in the you-know-what, okay? So do we deal with cases with criminal issues? Yes, we do. However, it is important to understand that immigration law is very complicated and complex, and the intersection of immigration and criminal law is a very complicated matter, and every single thing has to be properly analyzed to make sure that your criminal issue is not a barrier to you getting your immigration application approved. And the truth is that there are many criminal issues that may not be a problem. There are many criminal issues that will require a waiver to be pardoned. And some people may qualify for a waiver and other people may not qualify for a waiver. And lastly, there are several types of criminal issues that cannot be fixed through immigration law. Like, there's no way around it. If you have certain convictions, it is pretty much like a dead end to your immigration case, your immigration hopes, okay? That's the bad news. And this is why it's very, very important that if you have ever had any sort of encounter with law enforcement, you need to make sure that you disclose it to your attorney, you get the documentation to show what is the final outcome of your criminal charge. A lot of people will come to us and say, oh, abogada, I was arrested, but it was dismissed 10 years ago. And I'll be like, okay, sure, let's run your FBI prints, and then let's see what it says. And the FBI prints will say, nope, it was not dismissed. It was a plea for something. And then the client has to go to the court and definitely get that paperwork, because we still need to analyze it. So just because you think your criminal charge was dismissed may not be the truth, or may not be correct, because the truth is that if you're not an attorney, these are very complex matters to understand. Also, I want to let you know that if you got something expunged, that also may not fix your problem, because sometimes expungement may still, it doesn't always erase the existence of a plea, right? And even if you have your records sealed or expunged, they may still pose a problem in your immigration case, which is why you have to make sure that you disclose everything to your attorneys, okay? So bottom line is that we do work with many types of criminal issues, and the best way to find out if it's going to be an issue in your case or not is to get your documentation, call us, and let's book an appointment for a case evaluation to look at everything and to see what you might qualify for, okay? And you can call us at 212-248-7907. We do have people standing by. And I also want to let you know that, like people are very, very afraid of what's going to happen at your immigration interviews if you have any sort of criminal charge. I want to give you the example of 2 interviews that we have had recently in the past 30 days. One was in California and one was in Phoenix, Arizona. And both of these clients had multiple, they had multiple criminal issues and multiple convictions. One client had multiple convictions for petty theft. We just got a request for evidence for a waiver because she filed for VAWA and she qualifies for a waiver through VAWA for her criminal issues. And this other client also, we had a interview in Phoenix, and he is also a VAWA client who has an approved VAWA, and the officer, officer didn't really have any issues. Maybe we might get an RFE, but the good news is, the bottom line is that neither of these clients were arrested. Now, if you are worried about an upcoming immigration interview and whether or not you are going to get arrested, first of all, you just need to talk to your lawyer and ask them what their opinion is, and then follow your attorney's advice. Now, I didn't really think that anything was going to happen to my clients, but of course, these days anything can happen. So that's why it's even more important that if you haven't told your lawyer the truth or the full history of what has happened, now is the time, guys, because we are trying to protect you and we want the best outcome for you, okay? 212-248-7907. Chanel Coco, hello, nice to see you again. Nice to see you. Sekou, hello, my friend. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. All right, Mohammed is asking, can we travel out of the U.S. if the T visa is approved before I apply for a green card? From Mohammed. Mohammed, very, very good question. When you apply for a T visa, once your T visa is approved, you can apply for advanced parole to travel out of the country. Now, the bad news is that you won't get it before your case is approved, but once your case is approved, even before you get to apply for your green card, you can still apply for the advanced parole with an approved T visa case, okay? Which is another huge benefit that you need to know about. So if you want to learn more about the T visa, give us a call, 212-248-7907. And that being said, I actually have a lot of questions today that I want to go over with you regarding T visas that we have gotten for people who have called our office. Now, the first question that I want to go over is, can I apply for the T visa without any proof? Can I apply for the T visa if I have zero proof of who I worked for, when I worked for them, what they did to me, and how they controlled my life and threatened me with everything? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. You actually do not need to have any proof for your T visa case because of the fact that the standard of evidence in a T visa case is any credible evidence. So what does any credible evidence mean? It basically means that you have the right underneath the law. It is literally written into the law that the standard of evidence is any credible evidence, which means that you can literally just submit only your affidavit and almost nothing else. And as long as there's no external inconsistencies or internal inconsistencies with what you present, then USCIS must take basically at face value that what you have said is true. So your word is bond. Your word is bond in a T visa case, just like it is in a VAWA application as well, okay? So any credible evidence means anything. Even if you have nothing, they cannot deny your case just because of that. But what are some ways that you can get evidence? Well, number one, you can, we sometimes do psychological evaluations. We sometimes do an expert opinion letter from a retired FBI officer. If your employer ever paid you in any sort of way, you have any receipts, you could use that. You could use Google reviews of the places that you used to work at. There are so many ways to prove existence, okay? So, but the bottom line is that should you let fear of not having enough evidence hold you back from doing a T visa case? And the answer is no. You also shouldn't let fear of not having evidence for a VAWA case hold you back, because the answer is that the standard of evidence is very lenient for you on purpose by law. By law, the standard of evidence is any credible evidence. So that means that the government knows that you will have a difficult time proving these things. When you have suffered through these atrocities of human trafficking or an abusive marriage, it is hard to show proof. The government does not expect that. But of course, if you do have proof, let's work together to see what you have and then put it together in your case, okay? 212-248-7907. Okay, I have another question here, which is about, will my spouse find out about my VAWA case? Will my spouse find out about my VAWA case? And the answer is no, because VAWA is protected. VAWA has a huge amount of confidentiality that is also written into by law. And did you know that there are actually penalties, civil penalties, that any immigration officer, that any government agent has to pay? They literally can get fined if they disclose information about your VAWA case. And when you file for VAWA, your spouse is not going to be contacted. It does not go on their record. There's no file created against them or for them. And the government is sure as heck not allowed to contact them regarding your case. So if fear of your spouse finding out about your VAWA case is holding you back, this should not prevent you from moving forward in your life with your immigration case. And also, as an additional benefit, when clients work with us, we put ourselves down as the contact. We put ourselves down as a mailing address, so all the mail can come safely through us and not get sent to your house and disclosed to your spouse. Okay, 212-248-7907. Okay, let's see what other comments I have. When you receive a work permit on VAWA, how long does it take to receive the advance parole from the Prince of my own kingdom? The Prince of my own kingdom. So nowadays, if USCIS decides to not process your work permit and your travel documents together and give you one combo card, they process these separately. And I would say that I think the travel document advance parole takes longer. I do think that we're seeing that take maybe about 8 months if they decide to separate that. Okay. Stalati Nicole, you're welcome. You should definitely file for citizenship ASAP, okay? Harsh Sharma, I do not guide for OPT or H-1B. I'm so sorry. If there is a notice to appear, what can be next from POO 19? Very good question. Heidi Antonia, case file today. Congrats, and we're so happy to get that done. Okay, if you get a notice to appear in immigration court, in the Executive Office for Immigration Review, what should you expect? Well, number one, you're going to have to pay what is the notice to appear, first of all? The notice to appear is basically a charging document from the court, not from the court, sorry. It's usually a charging document from ICE, okay, from DHS, that says that you are in violation of something, right? Maybe you overstayed your visa, maybe you have no permission to be here anymore. Maybe you committed fraud, something happened, that they are saying that you committed an immigration violation for which you should be removed from the United States. And it will tell you that you need to show yourself in court on a time and date certain in front of the immigration judge to prove why you should not be removed. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that on the date that's on that letter, you're gonna get deported. The answer is no. That is just the date on which you have to show up to the court. And many times it's not actually going to even be the real date, because the court actually has to give you something different. The court has to tell you when to show up. That is just a charging document saying that this is when you have to show up. But in reality, you actually have to wait for the court to issue something called a notice of hearing, which will tell you the actual time and date upon which you have to show up at the courthouse. And your very first hearing is going to be something called a master calendar hearing. A lot of people show up without an attorney to this date. Of course, you should definitely try to show up with an attorney when you can. And the benefit of working with an attorney is a lot of times you might be able to get something called a WebEx hearing and appear remotely in court, which of course would be a great peace of mind. But on your first master calendar hearing, you're literally just telling judge if you need an attorney, if you need some more time, or if you know what application for defense are you going to file in court. And when you're in court, you can really only file cancellation of removal, special rule cancellation of removal underneath VAWA, asylum, and some types of waivers. That is literally all the judge can hear. So what happens though if you have a VAWA case or a T visa case? What happens if you are eligible for VAWA or for a T visa, but then you get a notice to appear in court? Well, congratulations, because you can still continue your VAWA or your T visa case, and you can still let the court know that you have this in process. However, many times right now, about a year ago, 2 years ago, we were able to get dismissed almost every single case that we had where the client received a notice to appear, where we also had a pending VAWA or a T visa. Now, though, the judge is going to say, no, I'm not ready to dismiss. I'm not ready to terminate or anything like this. And you need to wait till your case gets approved. And meanwhile, you still have to file an application in court. So basically, nowadays, if you do receive a notice to appear in court, number one, don't miss your court date. If you don't go to court on the date that the court tells you to be there, they will sign an in absentia order of removal against you. Basically, they're going to order you deported without you even being there. So do not miss your court hearing dates, okay? Number two, if you have an application that you can file in court, such as cancellation of removal, special cancellation, asylum, or a special waiver, then you need to let the judge know, or your attorney needs to let the judge know, and the judge will give a deadline by which to file that. Number two, if you have an outside case pending, such as for an I-751 or a VAWA or for a T visa case or a U visa, once that gets approved, you can let the judge know, and the judge will probably agree to terminate the case, okay? Or you can seek prosecutorial discretion to see if DHS will agree to get those charges dismissed, okay? So all hope is not lost. Just because you get a notice to appear is not the end of the world. It does not mean that you are getting deported on that day, okay? 212-248-7907. Oh my gosh, Fernando, I'm one of your clients. It was a pleasure to work with you. My T visa application was submitted in 5 days, and I'm hoping for the best. Fernando, sending that with a prayer and lots of prayers to the universe. We know it's going to do well. Okay, thank you for being a client, Fernando. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us work on your case. All right, Lamubi Mike, I filed for VAWA and I already got my work permit on social, but it's been 3 years since I got my receipt number. How long do you think it'll take to get a response? Lamubi Mike, congratulations, and thank you for the follow. If you filed your VAWA 3 years ago, then my guesses are, Mike, that in the next 6 months to 10, 12 months, you're going to get a response. You might either get a request for evidence or you might get an approval on your case. I'm going to pray for you to get the approval. Of course, if you get a request for evidence and you need help, you can give us a call. Depending on our workload, sometimes we can help people with a request for evidence, okay? Chantalie, will a biometric reflect the same as a fingerprint report with DCJS? Chantalie, I don't actually know what DCJS is, but so I don't know how to answer your question, my love. I'm so sorry. Fenil Patel, does a shared residence of 3 weeks abroad be considered for VAWA? Fenil, I know your name. Thank you for the Google review that you left and that you took down. I appreciate that. I know you spoke with our attorney. Anyway, yes, here is the truth about shared residence. For a VAWA case, shared residence of any period of time can count, whether it's inside the United States or outside the United States. However, your abuse must have occurred somewhere in the United States. Now, what is shared residence? Well, you can't just visit each other. If you have your own home, your own rent, your own lease, your own house, and your spouse has their own house, their own mortgage, their own lease, and you just simply visit each other, that does not count for shared residence. You literally must have your only place of abode, your only dwelling to be with your spouse for however long it is, even if it's for a day, a week, 3 weeks, that's fine by me, as long as you're not keeping your own separate residences, because for VAWA, that does not count as a shared joint residence, okay? Thank you, Fennel, for your question. Junior, it's my pleasure to work on your case. Liz, is it okay to cancel my F1 and move forward with my VAWA case? Very important question. KK, I have to figure out which client you are. I'm sorry, I know we are having some delays. KK, please reach out, give us a call right now. Give us a call so we know exactly. I can't tell from your username who you are, KK, okay? Give us a call right now so we can take that name down. All right, so is it okay to cancel your F1 case and move on with VAWA? This is something that I get a lot of questions about. For example, if I have an asylum pending, can I cancel it and do my VAWA? Can I cancel my F1? Can I cancel all these other statuses that I have so I could do a VAWA? And the answer is you need to proceed very, if you have I'm going to answer this in two ways. If you have a pending asylum case, do not withdraw your asylum case or cancel your asylum case until you have your green card in hand. Because the minute you withdraw your asylum application, they are going to send you to court. Okay, so if you have a pending asylum, if you don't want to move forward with your asylum, well, you're going to have to tough it out and wait and go through that interview if you get it, and let your VAWA case not just get approved, but you want to wait for your green card to get approved too. Because if you withdraw your asylum application prematurely, then the asylum office is going to send you to court, and that's probably not where you want to be. Number two, if you have an F1 status or some other status and you want to cancel that status so you can file for VAWA, what I would tell you is you should proceed the way you think is the best for you, because if you cancel your F1 or your H1B so you could do a VAWA, then you'll be out of status, right? That doesn't matter for the VAWA. VAWA cases don't care if you're out of status. You can be out of status for 30 years and still do a VAWA case. That is not the issue. The issue is, how will you feel if you don't have something as a backup, right? Do you need to continue going to school? Do you need to continue to show status for your job? That's what you have to take into consideration, okay? All right, outstanding view of the world. Hello, Alina. I have 3 disorderly conducts in 2016. Am I at risk for naturalization? Outstanding view of the world. Great name, great username, by the way. So are you at risk for naturalization if you have 3 disorderly conducts? And the answer is probably not, but you need to talk to an attorney. And I will tell you this: a disorderly conduct is a very, I'm not even too sure if it qualifies as a criminal conviction or is it a violation. I don't know, but it's low, right? And I actually naturalized somebody with, I think he had 7 disorderly conducts that were downgraded from some very serious calls. So he passed with no problem. However, it's always going to depend on the officer you have at your citizenship interview and what they want to do. So some officers are going to give you a hard time, and others are going to say, it's not a problem. Okay, we know it's not an issue. Okay, so if that's your issue, I definitely recommend that if you have any sort of criminal issue and you want to file for a green card or for citizenship, especially citizenship, you want to work with an attorney who can analyze these things for you and prepare you for all the sticky spots in your case, okay? And the good news is that we are taking citizenship cases. If you want us to help you with your N400, call us at 212-248-7907. I do regret to inform you that we cannot file your citizenship application before October 20th, if that's what you want, because we are at capacity for those cases, okay? 212-248-7907, okay? And don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you know that when I'm coming live, okay? How long does it take after I send the medical exam to your office? 1337, I think it's just going to depend on what we have to still do on your case. How much is left on the edits? Is it ready for filing now, or does it have to go through final review? A lot of cases end up taking long in my office because I review things like multiple times, especially if there's complicated issues or criminal issues. I review everything very, very thoroughly multiple times. So if you are a current client and you've sent us your medical exam, because I don't know the specifics exactly of the activity happening on your case right now, it's probably going to just depend on exactly what is the stage that we're at right now. And we don't really do family reunification cases. But if you're talking about Section 245I, yes, we do that. All right. From your experience, how long does it take to fix a typo on an EAD on a VAWA case? From Sergio. Sergio, in my experience, any errors on a USCIS document can take anywhere from 6 months to like forever to fix. Sometimes it just makes more sense to just file a new EAD application. Actually, we're dealing with that on a client's case right now too. Thank you for the follows. I applied for my T visa. Will my employer be contacted from Eileen Lala? So this is a good, excuse me, this is a good question that we've gotten from other people. That if you file for a T visa case and you still work for your employer, will that employer be contacted? And it will depend on who is doing the investigation, which agency, and what they want to do. Sometimes, yeah, they may want to contact the employer, but if we know that there's a risk of safety to our client, if they're still working for the employer, we let the law enforcement know and we ask them to withhold contacting the employer about anything until the employee can find a new job and find safety, okay? Or we will report somewhere else where hopefully they are not going to try to reveal things to the employer, okay? So there's certain ways to work around that, Eileen. All right, 212-248-7907. Can you travel domestically with just a VAWA receipt, no prima facie? I highly don't recommend it, guys. If you want to travel domestically and you don't even have a work permit, you know it's risky. You know it's risky, especially we just don't know what's going to happen. So I feel better knowing that my clients are waiting for at least a work permit before they travel domestically even, okay? But of course, you know, it may not be a problem. It may still be a problem. We don't know what's going to happen these days, okay? How long is the process taking with the T visa? Mateo, hello. So after receiving the notice, right now I do predict that the T visas are going to slow down in processing, and it's probably going to take a little more than 2 years to get decisions on T visa cases at this point, okay? Last year was taking about 1.5 years. I predict that now it's going to take about 2 years. I filed VAWA and I have an extension. Can I file internationally from I choose to ignore? I would say if you have a proper advance parole, then you may be able to travel internationally. You can't travel internationally with just a receipt. Hello, Jesus. Hi, nice. Long time no see. Can I switch from a VAWA case to a marriage green card case? And if I do, can the money I'm paying for the VAWA be transferred to the marriage green card case from Sade? Sade, so very good question. If you have a VAWA case started, then you may be able to do a marriage case. You know, I definitely don't recommend that you do it with the person upon who you based your VAWA off of. You have to understand that if you're filing a VAWA case and you remarry somebody, if you're filing a spousal VAWA and you remarry somebody else, it is going to invalidate your VAWA case, okay? Now, as far as you being able to transfer the money you're paying for the VAWA case to marriage, well, that's going to depend on the attorney. And you have to understand that anytime you pay money to an attorney, that money is basically paying for work that's being done. So depending on how much work has been done on your case, if there's any money left over, then maybe your attorney might agree to apply it towards another case. But it's not like if you pay, you know, some money for a VAWA case, whatever the fee is, you can just transfer the whole thing over to a new case, because a lot of times that money has already been worked through because of all the hours and hours spent on preparing the case. So Sade, you know, I think, you know, I know, believe you're a client, so you just have to call us to kind of see where we are with your case and, you know, like what can be done right now, okay? Fennel, thank you for bringing this to my attention. You know, I don't know what to say except that I'm pretty sure that Attorney Megan tried her best in answering your question. So, you know, I don't know. I hope we could still work together. But if, you know, I understand that you feel like it's probably we're not the right place. But I do thank you for trusting us in the first place. All right, Alina, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your comments. All right, guys. All right. So I hope I was able to answer some good questions for you guys today and give you some peace of mind and give you some good news. You know, we just got 2 green cards approved yesterday. We got another green card notice approval. We're still waiting for the green card to come in the mail. You know, like once I get it, I'm going to do some pictures and show you, because I know every time you see these things, it makes you feel hope, right? You need to have hope, and you deserve to have hope, because hope keeps us alive, and you deserve to know that everything that you're working for is worth it somehow, right? Because you're fighting, and I don't want you to give up, okay? My name is Moumita Rahman. I'm an immigration attorney, and if you do want an appointment with our office, give us a call at 212-248-7907. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a blessed night. Take care.